We all learned history in school, right? But what if I told you that some of the stories we've been told are more fiction than fact? Today, we're going to uncover the truth behind some of history's most myths. So buckle up, because what you're about to hear might just change everything you thought you knew. History is a tapestry woven with tales of heroism, intrigue, and sometimes pure imagination. As these stories are passed down through generations, they can morph into myths, narratives that are so captivating, they become accepted as truth. But what if the reality was far more interesting? Let's start with one of the most famous misconceptions in history, Napoleon Bonaparte. For centuries, he's been depicted as a short man with a towering ambition. But here's the twist. Napoleon wasn't actually that short. At around 5'7", he was average height for a Frenchman of his time. The myth likely originated from a mix-up in measurements between French and English standards, not to mention the fact that his nickname, the Little Corporal, was more about endearment than stature. Who knew that a simple measurement error could fuel centuries of misconceptions? Next up, let's talk about one of the most iconic structures on Earth, the Great Wall of China. We've all heard the claim that it's the only man-made structure visible from space. But here's the reality, it's not. While the wall is indeed massive, it's also incredibly narrow, making it nearly impossible to see without the aid of magnification. In fact, there are far more visible man-made structures, like cities at night. So, where did this myth come from? Likely from the sheer awe surrounding the wall's size and the human imagination that turned it into something even grander. Now let's dive into ancient history with the story of the Trojan War. We've all heard the epic tale. The war was sparked by Helen of Troy, the most beautiful woman in the world. But was it really all about love and beauty? While Helen's abduction might have been the catalyst, historians believe the real causes were more political, involving power, trade routes, and control over the Aegean Sea. The myth has endured because it's a story that's easy to understand: love, jealousy, war. But the truth is, the Trojan War was likely far more complex. When you think of Vikings, what's the first image that comes to mind? Probably a fierce warrior in a horned helmet. But here's the truth. Vikings didn't actually wear those iconic helmets. This myth started in the 19th century, thanks to operas and art that romanticized Viking warriors. The real Viking helmets were simple, conical, and without horns. So, the next time you see a horned Viking, remember, it's more fantasy than history. And finally, let's tackle an American classic, the story of young George Washington and the cherry tree. As the tale goes, after chopping down his father's cherry tree, little George confessed, saying, "I cannot tell a lie." But here's the kicker. This story was completely fabricated by Washington's biographer, Parson Weems. Weems wanted to create a moral tale that would inspire young Americans. And what better way than to show the first president as a paragon of honesty? The story may be fiction, but it's persisted because it reflects the values we want to see in our leaders. So there you have it, some of history's most persistent myths, unraveled. These stories show us how history can be shaped, not just by facts, but by the narratives we choose to tell. It's a reminder that sometimes the truth is more fascinating than the myth. So next time you hear a tale that sounds too good to be true, remember, it just might be. And if you enjoyed this myth-busting journey, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more. If you want to know about most popular myths about World War I, then video is on the left side.